Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Spina Bifida Guide to Hope. My name is Leilani, and today, as you can see, I am not alone. And for all of you who do not know, this is my beautiful mama, Lisa.
Hello.
Today we are going to do kind of a Q&A with my mom. On my Facebook support group and on my Instagram, I had asked all of you to ask my mother questions regarding her being a parent with someone with spina bifida. And today we are going to have her answer those questions. Now, just a disclaimer, it is strictly her point of view. She is not speaking about my personal story. She is not speaking on my behalf. She is only speaking about her experience. Both perspectives, if you have spina bifida or if you're a parent to someone who has spina bifida, are completely different. There are two very different perspectives, two very different stories. I do not know what it's like to be a parent of someone with spina bifida, as she may not know, even though she went through all the experiences with me, what it's like to actually be somebody with the disability. So let's get started with the questions. The first question is, what was your reaction when you found out that I was going to have spina bifida?
My first reaction pretty much was, what is spina bifida? I had no clue. I had never heard of it before. I was a young mom. So I was about 18 years old when I found out I was pregnant with Leilani. Doctors, said, you have spina bifida, and I'm like, well, what is that? What's going on? What does that mean?
Right.
So then they gave me the explanation. I was pretty scared, nervous, not knowing what to expect at that point in time. And again, a lot of it, I guess it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, whenever someone does give you a diagnosis, your child has, a disability, it's going to be a little shocking. Especially, you've never heard of it, you don't know, what's going to happen, and so.
Right, it's scary.
It was scary.
Right.
It was scary. It was, I was very worried for, a long time.
Right.
Worried, I was worried up until I had you. Pretty much to know, what
that I was
outcome.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Next question. How far along were you in your pregnancy when you found out that I was going to have spina bifida?
I would say I was about 3 months, between 3 and 4 months maybe.
3 and 4 months?
Yeah.
Next question. How did you as a parent help me cope with needing surgery when I needed to go into surgery?
Well, you were really, when you first had your back closure, it was literally about 2 hours after you were born. So for that, you were a baby, so you know what was going on for the most part.
Right.
But they brought you over to me. I hugged you, kissed you, and they took you off to prep you for, your surgery. And then I just pretty much waited. They had to close me back up and do all that stuff to me too. But
and then growing up, me having shunt revisions,
Well, yeah, I was pretty much, as the shunt revisions and they had to put your shunts in, I pretty much just would play with you because, you were a little older. I would play with you. We would be at the hospital. I'd hold you. We'd go to the playroom, right before surgery.
I remember the playrooms.
Yeah, we went to the playrooms, and the doctors would come in, give you the sleepy medicine or something.
Right.
And, so I would try to keep you busy and occupied, even though we were in a strange setting. You kind of were comfortable because of all the toys and stuff. So it was always just trying to distract you and keep you busy with stuff like that. And then we had, your dad, your grandparents, and everybody around. So that helped too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Having support is a major thing.
Right. So we had a really good support system between, the family and all. So that helped too. And then once you were kind of groggy is when they would, come get you and wheel you off to your surgeries.
Right.
But I don't think, unless you remember, if it was, you felt anything
scary?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think for me, even though I was young, I do remember certain stuff. I don't remember obviously going into the operating room or coming out, but I do remember those times going into the playroom and playing with toys, being in recovery in the my patient room, and doing coloring books, and just occupying myself from the situation that was really going on. And especially having family around, that was like a major part of it, because it made me feel more comfortable.
Okay.
And made me feel like I wasn't alone in the experience, obviously, because I had all of you to back me up and to be my support system when I was recovering.
Well, that's
same
good to
thing.
know.
Yeah, same thing for 2 years ago when I had my tethered cord surgery. And if you don't know, 2 years ago I had tethered cord surgery, like I just said, and I do have videos on that if you would like to check them out on this channel. But definitely even 2 years ago, having all the family and the support system was a great help. What advice do you have for new parents with a child with spina bifida?
The advice that I have is to stay positive. Sometimes doctors give you the worst case scenario, which in my case it was that way. They said a lot of things to me that once you were born I knew, wasn't true, obviously. But I feel like sometimes doctors try to give you the worst case scenario, because if it is a worst case scenario, you're prepared for it. But I did hear a lot of very negative things. So all I could say is that, if you are a parent with a child, if you're pregnant with a child that, is going to have spina bifida, just stay positive. You need a lot of family support. So hopefully you do have that. I know I did. I had a very good family support, and that helped me a lot, because I didn't have, at the time, I'm young. I was 18, so I didn't go to friends. I didn't, talk to anyone else outside of my immediate family about the situation.
Right.
So it was like your dad, your grandmom, your grandfather, and that was basically it. Like us, we're always there for you in a sense.
Right, and kind of like handling the situation,
and handling
whatever
the situation.
situations come.
Right. So for me, it's very important for you to just stay positive, and hopefully you have a very good, support system for, you and your baby. And I think that helps a whole lot. Yeah, because it can be very scary, give you a lot of anxiety. I, used to cry, and, I just didn't know what to expect.
And just so they know, what kind of things were you told while you were pregnant with me that was going to affect me?
They said that, with spina bifida, these are things that are pretty, that could happen, obviously.
Right.
You would not be able to walk. Although it seemed like you had some leg function, they weren't sure if you'd be able to walk. You may need, the braces or a wheelchair, or, they weren't sure at the time. It did look pretty severe from what they told me, but they just weren't 100% sure until you had arrived.
Right.
They also said that you had Down syndrome. That's another thing I was kind of taken back by. They said that she was going to be more with Down syndrome.
Really?
Yeah. She may need a shunt. That's part of, when you have a baby with spina bifida, it is possible that, they will need shunts because of the fluid that,
is in the brain and all that.
Right.
The hydrocephalus.
The hydrocephalus part of it.
Some cases don't have a hydrocephalus, and some do. I am one case that did need shunts because I do have hydrocephalus. I have 2 VP shunts. I have yet to make a video about it, so maybe that will be a future video that I will talk about my hydrocephalus story and what I went through with that.
Chiari malformation, that's another one, where the brain sits a little lower, into the neck area. Yours is mild, but that's another thing that does happen with cases of children or babies that are born with spina bifida. You have that also.
Right.
The Chiari malformation. You can have it, yeah.
Yeah, all cases are so different. That's why 2 people, they say, are not really the same. 2 cases are never the same.
Right.
Because everybody is different.
Right.
I do have also, like she mentioned, Chiari malformation, but again, it's a very mild case of it. So it didn't really affect me intellectually or physically or anything like that.
They also mentioned mentally she may not do well. She may have some learning curves, learning disabilities, and issues with that, once she's a little bit older. So I was told quite a few things. And, at the time, again, I'm, 18 years old. I'm pretty young. I'm expecting my first baby.
Right.
And, to hear all these things at once, you're taken back, and you're just like, you kind of don't know what to think. It's scary.
Right.
It
And
can
the
be
fact
scary.
the fact that I was your first is like even crazier, because one, you're young, and two, me being your first and then having that experience with your first child is like I can imagine, kind of traumatic.
It was. I feel that like the most traumatic part for me, not only was it, you going right into surgery right after you were born, that was really scary. And then me myself having to recover, and because I had a C-section, so having to go through recovery and being in the room by myself, and then you hear the surrounding area, because I'm in the maternity ward,
Right. You hear
and
all the
I hear all the babies, and the emotion that comes with that also, because I didn't have my baby with me, and like I wanted to hold you, and I wanted you there, and so that too puts an emotional toll, and not just the fact that you're getting surgery, that's on top of that too. So it was a lot. It was a lot to handle.
Next question. Are there any worries that you still have today regarding my health?
Yes, I continue to worry. As a mom, I think all moms, even moms without children with disabilities, always have that worry. Make sure you want your kids to be okay, you want them to be safe when they go out, and so yeah, I have worries no matter what. Since I was pregnant with you, I've had worries. So in the sense of worry, like making sure that you're back, even though you've had that surgery, that you're not in pain, you're okay. So I think about that all the time, and with your bowels, and your bladder, all that stuff. I always have everyday like worries here and there, but
even though I'm an adult now,
she's an adult and she's situated and she does her own thing, but as a mom, I still tend to have that, tons of worries. And your shunts, I'm so happy that she hasn't had a shunt revision in years, and I hope it goes many, many, many more years.
I hope I never need a revision again. I haven't had one since I was 5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. And then the other worry I would have to say is, the infections sometimes that happen
the UTIs.
From self-cathing. She gets, sometimes every now and then she can get a UTI, some severe, which she had a recent severe one that was really scary for all of us.
I have a story time video about that.
Yeah.
I had
that was
sepsis. I caught sepsis, which is it can be a very deadly thing if not caught in time. It was caught in time for me, and I was able to be treated.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, that was. So those kind of things are worries, like, because I'm like, oh my goodness, this happened once, can it happen again? So yeah, I have general worries, but for the most part, I mean, I know she's healthy, and I know you're healthy. I know that everything's good, so I'm happy about that.
Right.
But I think a mom always worries, no matter what.
It's just that mom instinct to worry about your child, of course. So that comes naturally. What was the most challenging age when I was growing up?
I wouldn't say challenging per se.
Okay.
I would just say it goes back to the worrying part of your disability, and what with your shunts, and that was my biggest concern, especially when you were a baby, because of the fact that you couldn't tell me, hey mom, I have a headache.
Right.
And if you're someone that knows hydrocephalus, or you have hydrocephalus yourself, you understand where I'm coming from, because as a baby you can't verbalize, so I have to look for
the signs and symptoms
so
malfunction.
Sunset eyes, forceful vomiting, sometimes you would go like this, and then I'm freaking out, oh, what's going on, your head hurt. So it was always kind of, and also motion, like there could be times that you'd go really slow to like grab something, or just your motor skills were not where they should be, and that was cause for concern. Okay, is something going on with her shunt? Is there fluid building up, in her ventricle again, or what's going on here? So that was very concerning and a big worry for me when you were a baby,
because I couldn't verbalize anything.
That was the scariest, I think, time. Once they put the shunt in, you were still very little, up until you were about, I would say maybe 3. You were talking little things here and there before that, but I feel like more or less at 3 years old, you can really say, hey, like, this hurt.
Right.
That hurts. Or I feel, I think that at that point, you're more verbal, and that's about the time that maybe, I still had the worry, but I didn't feel as much like I had to figure it out. Although I always kept my eye on you. Maybe even 3 to 4 years old, I guess.
Right, because I was more verbal then, and was able to be like, hey, this hurts, or whatever.
So it became a little bit easier in that aspect, but going back to the same thing, it's always a worry. Always a worry, just, because you obviously want your baby to be okay. And,
absolutely. Okay, next question. Does your daughter suffer from depression? Now, with this question, she can answer from her perspective, but I feel like it's kind of like a two-sided thing, because I feel like it's also kind of like a question for me in a sense, because how are you gonna answer for me if,
Yes.
But from your perspective, what would you say?
I would say, I feel that there were times that you did have some depression, especially, being a young girl in high school, middle school. I don't know so much in elementary school is a little different, but I feel that once you got into the middle school, high school ages, it was a little tougher for you, to handle certain things and to feel like, oh, hey, why am I this way? And these girls are this way.
Right.
That's pretty natural for, I think,
a teenager.
Teenagers, they're already going through all kinds of emotional changes, and then to add, the fact that you do have spina bifida and some other little things, going on here with your health.
Yeah.
I feel that yes, that you could have gone through some depressions, but I always tried my best to make sure you knew I could talk to you and be your support for everything.
Right, and that I can go to you if I'm having an issue. That's one thing about my mom. Whatever problem, medical or not, it doesn't matter. I can always go to her, and I know that I can go to you if I feel some type of way about anything. So that has always been a great thing to have. That doesn't just go for just my mom. I have other family members that are just as supportive, but specifically here, I know that I can go to you whenever I need guidance or advice, or I'm feeling down in some type of way. I know that I didn't really touch base on it when I was talking about my tethered cord surgery in my previous videos, but during recovery and up until pretty recently, I kind of lost myself, and I was going through things emotionally, and I was kind of, I guess you can say, down in the dumps with my feelings about myself and my self-esteem. And I went to my mom with that, and I talked to her about it, and of course, her being my mom, she lifted me up, and she always knows how to make me feel better. And I love you for that.
Oh, thank you. I love you. I'm glad that I'm able to make you feel better. I'm glad that, you can come to me and, whatever we talk about, I have the right words to be able to help you cope, or, whatever it is you need. Those hugs, those kisses, I'm always here.
Right.
Yes, please always be there for your children, small, older. You're 25, but I still see you as my child.
Of course.
Always. I will always see you as my baby.
As a little girl, right?
Nobody can ever change that. That's, it comes with it. For me, it comes with that, being a mom, so.
Right. Next question. What was it like going through the IEP process?
I did not have an IEP for you. They said that you didn't need an IEP. You did not have any limitations with like learning or any issues. You were in regular classes. The only thing you did need was I believe it's called a 504, because that includes disability also in there. If
like a physical disability,
right. So within the 504 plan, it's kind of similar to an IEP, but like I said, it has also the disability aspect on it, as the IEP is more for the learning and like certain specific classes you may have to take. You didn't have that, but you had a 504 that kind of covered, I mean, it would have covered that too, but you didn't need that. So it covered the disability part of it, to where like, you know, you had to go to the nurse's office so that you can self-cath.
Like certain accommodations, I guess.
So yes, the 504 was in place for her to have specific accommodations at school. And, you know, when she was in elementary, like I would go to help, or my mom would go to help. We didn't have a specific nurse helping. You never felt comfortable with that. So I was okay with that. Like your schools, when she went into elementary school, I sat down with the principal. I sat down with her teachers. I sat down with the nurses of the school, and every transition from elementary school to middle school to high school, it was very smooth. I honestly cannot complain about the transitional part of you going from school to school to school, and transitioning that 504 plan and sitting down and speaking to the principal and the teachers and the nurses, and everyone was very willing to, you know, okay, we'll accommodate her, whatever she needs, whenever she has to go down to the nurse. Whatever you needed, they were very, very willing to accommodate, which was great. I mean, you're supposed to. But there's people that have had bad experiences, but I did not, and you did not experience anything like that. It was nice because I even sat down with teachers at times that asked questions. Well, what is spina bifida? Like, I've never heard of that, or I'm going to look into that, you know? And so that was nice too, that they would, you know, that they were interested in learning about it and wanted to know more about it. So it was a good experience.
What was the hardest thing you had to do for me growing up with spina bifida?
I do not feel that anything I did for you was hard. I feel that as a mom, I just was kind of like your mom and your nurse. You know, I don't feel that anything was hard or challenging or difficult. I did have to learn a lot. You know, like the doctors explained a lot. The nurses taught me how to obviously cath you when you were a baby. So, you know, it was a lot of learning how to be able to live, you know, move on and live our normal lives, but with cathing you and with helping you with your bowels when you were a baby. And with checking for, you know, any shunt issues and all that stuff, like any shunt malfunction. So it was a lot of just nursing skills that I obtained.
Without any schooling, just because of life experience.
Schooling. This is my experiences with my daughter, and just basically
turned you into a professional when it comes to like
it was turned into a mommy / nurse without the degree. So I mean, it came with it. It all came naturally. I did what I had to do for you to obviously survive and grow up and be healthy, and it just came as just second nature. It was nothing that I felt was hard
or challenging.
No, I don't feel that it was hard or challenging. It was a little overwhelming in the very beginning because I'm scared to hurt you, or you know, when you first put a catheter in a baby, you know. So it's just a lot of learning, but again, nothing to me was hard or challenging. It was part of being your mom, and I was ready, willing to learn, and you know, here you are.
Okay, so very last question.
Okay.
Is how does it feel seeing me come so far and where I am today? Like, how do you feel about that?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Oh, I feel great. I'm so proud of you. You've gone through a lot. You've accomplished a lot. From being pregnant and being told all these things that were going to happen to you, or things that you were going to be born with, to now fast forwarding, now you're 25. You weren't born with some of the stuff they said you were going to be born with. And through great doctors and surgeons and the hospitals, I have to say, the best hospitals and care ever. I'm so happy that, you know, we live in a state that has wonderful just medical period.
That's true.
helped a lot.
It did.
So between the doctors and the surgeons and your support system there, and then your support system at home,
Right.
It's been awesome.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, but I am so proud of your journey and what you're doing now, and how you have become the young woman you are now. And you know, it's awesomeness. Like, it's awesome. You have your little hurdles and your days, I know, and she still has, you know, some stuff that she deals with, you know, emotionally, personally, and I'm always here. But I'm very proud of you from beginning to end, and everything that, you know, has happened, and your platform. And it's awesome to have a platform like this.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's kids out there or young adults out there that may need to hear certain things that you have to say. And, you know, they're maybe too shy to have their own platform and talk, but they can listen to you and relate. So the fact that you're doing what you're doing is awesome. You've lived it.
Right.
This is all your experience.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel good. It's awesome.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I'm proud of you, and it has been a learning experience, that's for sure.
A learning experience, a roller coaster too.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, without my mom or any of my family members and my support system in general, this channel even, and the support that I've gotten from my support group and this channel, and from people that can relate to me, without that, I don't know where I would be today without, you know, the support that I've had since birth. You know, and I'm so grateful for that. I love you.
But I'm happy you feel that way. I love you more. Always. It's awesome. So proud of you and everything you're doing. It's great. Thank you for having me on your channel. So I hope that parents that do go ahead and see this, you know, maybe
it's helpful in some way.
Something reaches out to them and it's helpful to them. And if you have any questions or comments for me, please
leave them down below.
Yes, I would love to respond, or, you know, there's something we didn't touch on.
Yeah,
I'll be willing to answer them questions.
That's the purpose of this video. It's not for her to tell my story, because my story is my own to tell. It's just, you know, to hopefully, like she said, help somebody out there who may be a new parent to somebody with spina bifida or disability in general, to cope with whatever's going on and maybe relate, and hopefully get some helpful tips that maybe my mom has mentioned, to help them through whatever they may be going through with their own journey and their own experiences. So that was the main point of this video. That is the end of all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you for being willing to come and do the video with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Also, like, share, and comment down below any questions you may have for my mom or for me regarding disability, or any advice that maybe we can help you with. And I will see you next week. Bye.